welcome. Quote Me on That podcast is an initiative of Quote This Woman Plus. Quote This Woman Plus, also referred to as QW Plus, is a gender justice organization that links women plus experts to the media. Quote Me on That introduces our Women Plus experts to the world.
Good day. Today we are joined by Dr. Maymunah Kadiri, also known or affectionately known as Dr. May, a psychiatrist, a mental health advocate, and author, the founder of Pinnacle Medical Services, one of Nigeria's leading mental health and wellness centers, a global Atlantic Fellow, as well as a senior Aspen New Voices, now known as Global Innovators Fellow. Dr. May is breaking the silence around mental illness, fighting stigma, and using her platform to make therapy and psychiatric care more accessible to communities that have been taught to suffer in silence. This conversation is about healing, it's about hope and the courage to feel everything. So I am sure anyone listening is as excited as I am. Welcome, Dr. May.
Thank you so much. And to all our listeners, you're all welcome.
Thank you so much. We are going to just jump right into it. And I'm desperate to know, where did it all start? What inspired you to specialize in mental health or psychiatry, a field that's often misunderstood or stigmatized?
What made me to specialize in mental health? I've always loved everything about the brain. It's facilitating and all that, but of course, getting into the deep depth of clinical medicine, neurology, yeah, I went into neurology. It was good. Neurosurgeon, like 14, sometimes 16, 18 hours. I said, nah, I don't know if I want to stand for that long. But when we got into psychiatry, I saw how people transform from where they are to who they should be and what the society also should do to encourage them. And, you know, that was a game changer for me. So for me, mental health is a medicine for the past, the present, and the future. I see it as a part where, you know, if you understand yourselves better, you'll be able to do better. It gives more about human, you know, behavior, our personality, the way things should be, and all that. So for me, I want to be that doctor that doesn't, you know, look away. That doctor that will not just come in and look away. So why is that? I tell people I'm a behaviorist. I tell people I'm a conversationalist. I tell people I help in normalizing mental health conversations by building a culture of compassion. And, you know, when I say I want to be that doctor who doesn't look away, it's because of the society where mental health is still whispered about or even dismissed, like just be strong, or for the men, be a man. I chose to lean in. I chose to lean in because psychiatry to me isn't just about the medical field. It's more about, you know, a mission. And choosing this path is, you know, is for us, for me to be able to listen, not to just judge people, and not to just, you know, treat people, but listen more, create that culture of compassion, and the one who wouldn't just label people as, in quote, how people will say people mad, but help them find meaning. And then, of course, as much as possible, I knew women also generally need more safe space. We are seeing the patriarchy system. Wherever you are in the world, the patriarchy system is still very strong. In Africa, when you bring it down to Nigeria, it's you know, it's still such a big thing. So from my work in empowering female founders and leading mental health campaign, it was very clear that I knew women needed space to breathe, you know, pause, you know, lean in and do much more for themselves, not just being strong women, but the not just strong women that we normally see, but also the tired women, the exhausted women, people-pleasing women, and, you know, of course, being perfectionists, you know, and that is also kind of slows them down. But I wanted to just help them in, you know, stepping in and just telling them it is okay not to be okay. And it is very okay to speak up and speak out, you know. And lastly, why psychiatry? I wanted to rebuild the system, a system, not just work in it. Because it's easy for me to come and say I'm a psychiatrist and working in system, but build that system. I didn't just want to practice psychiatry.
Yeah.
I want to be able to transform how it is being assessed, how it is being seen, you know, how it is felt not only in Nigeria, in Africa and global. So we had to do a lot of things, from launching culturally rooted teacher-led initiatives, so creating national campaigns, you know, and of course, building a new normal where mental health is a mainstream and not just a side note. So generally, these are some of the reasons. And lastly, you know, to make sure that I turned stigma to a stage. You know, health generally, when we talk about health is wealth, people know that health is wealth. But what people don't do is, how do you ensure that that health is wealth? The step, the day-to-day things you need to do. So, you know, removing stigma is still, it's not a myth anymore, but it's a movement. We are gradually talking about it. So where others see taboo, I see opportunities. That's just it. To educate people, to advocate for mental health, and of course to inspire. So I have to do a lot of things, like being on the radio, being on the TV, doing public workshops. You know, we created the mental health conference 3 years ago, and it's still ongoing. You know, being a columnist is one of the national newspaper, and just turning my expertise into a movement. So in short, in conclusion, I chose psychiatry because I understand that healing the mind, is healing. I understand that healing is not just a myth. It's healing the mind heals the world. Because when you heal the mind, you're generally healing a holistic human being. And I have never been afraid to do the deep work. And it's a deep work I've been doing since then.
Amazing, amazing. Oh my word, it's just the enthusiasm is just bubbling. Can you tell us about a moment that affirmed that you are exactly where you are meant to be?
A moment that I was exactly where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, that basically a moment that told you, Dr. May, what you are doing is what is needed in this world.
Quite a number of moments. So I remember when, because I knew I was going to read psychiatry in med school. And so I came out boldly to tell my parents, because then I wasn't married. I want to read psychiatry, and then everybody kind of paused. Then my dad was even it was hit. He called for a family meeting, and I was like, wow, hello. She wants to read psychiatry. That is mental health. Nobody's mad in this family. Why would she want to read mental health? You know, it's a waste of money, you know, stigma, you know, it was a whole lot, you know, and I married just after I left school. So that discussion then continued, and then he got my husband in, and to make my husband, I said, well, I've been saying that I want to do that. And he said, no, talk to her. Let her do pediatrics. Okay, psychiatry is P. There's pediatrics, you know, if she doesn't want to do OBGYN. And, you know, they talked, and that didn't work. It wasn't something I was ready to, and they gave in. So, but there was an incident that happened when I was doing my house job. As a young house officer, you are the last on the cadre of the doctors. Of course, there are nurses there, there are other members of the ecosystem. But when we now talk about medical doctors, you are the least of the hierarchy, up to the consultant, to the professors and all that. And you have to have patients assigned to you, because it's a one-year tutelage, meaning that you've left the medical school, but you also have to start learning if you are okay to do this job. And it also gives us room to know maybe the area you want to specialize in and other, because each of the rotation is 3 months for us in Nigeria: pediatrics, OBGYN, medicine, then surgery. So I was doing surgery then, and there's an accident and emergency unit.
Yeah.
That is biggest war as a young doctor. So for us in Lagos, once you see the yellow, we call them downfall buses. Once you see the yellow downfall bus, when you're in accident and emergency unit rotation, your heartbeat will skip, right? Because that means there's an accident. That means it may not go well. That means if it is a night, your sleep has completely be wiped out. Like that whole thing, the emergency unit may be filled up, and then you're definitely going to be doing all the running up and down. And so I think around 1 a.m. or around 12 midnight, just barely after 12 midnight, the bus came in. I'm like, oh shit, not today. So they brought in this young man. Yes, he was young, you know, and they said he was shot by armed robbers, you know. And the back end story was that his wife was in labor, so he took his wife to the hospital and dropped her off, and then he needed to pick something back at home. So on his way home, he ran into the armed robbers. They've already robbed, but they were escaping. So anybody on their way seemed like a police or person or armed force, armed force person or people that were going to attack them. So their own defense was attack as we go. And so he was shot. So they brought him alive, unconscious, and then we stabilized. And of course, we got a group with from stabilizing, we knew what needed to be done. So there were a group of doctors, some working up the cardiothoracic region, because there was a bullet spray on one side. There were other group of doctors working on the stomach, the other part of the gastrointestinal system down. So the theater was filled.
Yeah.
And as the doctor was one running up and down, making sure there was blood, I saw community. I saw what community really felt like. I experienced it. His church members, his family members were right there in front of the theater room. Anytime I come out and say, we need blood, they are giving me blood. Like we used not less than 20 pints of blood, because there was a time where, as we are infusing, the blood is leaking somewhere else, because it was just a whole lot. But we got him out, we stabilized him. He was able to wake up for him to be told that he had, the wife has given birth to a bouncing baby boy. He was able to speak to his wife, for him to hear a voice and say, honey, you will have a son now, and all that. And they prayed and all that. Family members kept coming. I was the one assigned to him. So every day I kept coming, I would check up on him, see how he's doing, we laugh. It was getting better. But days passed, and then one day I came into the room where he was, and the bed was empty. So I went to the matron, and I'm like, where is Mr. XYZ? He said, oh, Dr. Kadiri, so sorry, we lost him early hours of the morning.
Sure.
It was like, am I really meant for this? I did not only cry, I wailed. I witnessed trauma, that couldn't be stitched up with surgery alone. I witnessed that. Because, this young man who just passed away before even meeting his newborn child, that story, the heartbreak, opened my eyes to the invisible wounds many carry. I saw pain that couldn't be seen in scans, the ultrasound, the CT scans, the MRI, but screamed silently through sleepless nights, panic attacks, and quiet tears. I went home and I started telling myself, am I really meant for this? And then I realized that this is what I'm meant for. This is where I am supposed to be. This is who I am. Then I hadn't gone fully into mental health, but understand the concept of counseling. And I spoke with us in the team, like debriefing us on how to just heal, not just telling us to shoo and just move on. And that moment was like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be, because I saw the system. We don't, as health workers, we do not create those safe spaces for us to debrief. Absolutely. We just assume that it is normal. If somebody dies, tell the relatives, sorry, we lost the person, and you just go on with your regular work without, just checking on one another to just know how we're doing. Yeah. That for me, and that was so early in my understanding, is this where what I really want to do? And yes, that was it. And for me, the quote on the Hippocratic code that says, physicians heal themselves, that we really need to do that. Physicians heal themselves, because I remember years after that, this is something that I'm talking about like almost over 20 years ago now. And I see, as I'm speaking to you, I'm still like literally seeing myself walking around in the theater, seeing him. That young man should be like 20-something years ago, 20-something years now. I really will hope to maybe just accidentally meet him one day, and he talks to me about how he lost his dad when he was giving birth to, and he never met his dad. I can't remember the man's name now, but if the child can just take me through that, and I'm like, was it this hospital? Was it this time? Was it this year? And then we just unite and like give ourselves, rib cracking hugs. I think I'm just fine. I've healed, but that would give me more healing and maybe just you happier. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that is a powerful story. And it's sad that it has to come on the end of loss, right? But very often that is where we make these profound memories. Okay, so moving on then to breaking stigma and building understanding. What are some of the most harmful myths you've encountered about mental illness, either in Nigeria, Africa, or globally, and even more particularly around women's mental health?
Great question, I must say. The myths are so harmful. I will tell you, the myths about mental illness, especially concerning women, they don't just cause shame and silence, they also block people from getting to need help, seeking help, even encouraging help-seeking behavior. And some of those most damaging ones, because there are quite a number, I'm going to narrow them to some of the most damaging ones, along with the truth to counter them, is the fact that it's a spiritual problem. That mental illness is a spiritual problem, especially when it comes to women. She's possessed and she's under attack. Yeah. So you just find out that, in reality, mental illness is not caused by any spiritual punishment or any god, demigod or spiritual leader or bad person or whatever. No, when faith and spirituality are deeply important, they are deeply important to many things like anxiety, depression, bipolar, postpartum depression. All these are medical conditions. They are medical diseases. They are medical anomalies, right? And they need professional help. Just like how we have malaria, we have diabetes, we have cancer, and I let people know that mental illnesses are non-communicable diseases, just like hypertension and diabetes and cancer. So why do we just believe that, you are afflicted with a spiritual attack, and that is why you have a mental illness? You are possessed. It's something that is because you are a bad person.
Yeah.
It's so awkward, because I tell people, like, don't expect that because somebody you assume is bad will be paid back with bad. That's just what I tell people. The thing is that you're not supposed to decide. We can't decide. So a major myth is that it is spiritual, attack, and women are under spiritual attack and they are being possessed. And this is so harmful. Why is this harmful? When women that are suffering from these conditions, like the postpartum depression, they are taken to spiritual homes, spiritual leaders, and all that, it worsens their condition. They don't even get the help they're supposed to get. So you're praying for them, you're giving them some concussion that are not, that doesn't have scientific basis. And before they eventually come to the right place, it may be very difficult to treat if you have not lost the person, you know. And it's not going to be a miracle for somebody who has had postpartum depression for the past 2 years in a spiritual or herbal home to eventually come to a psychiatric practice and the illness disappears within 2 hours. It will take its natural course. It took that time for this person to even get in the pathway to recovery, to get to the right place to receive help. So it will be a gradual thing. It won't be a miracle or a magic wand, boom. And then, yes, the person gets well. So it is harmful. That is one big thing. The second one is that strong women don't break down.
Yeah.
Like strong women don't burn out, strong women don't break down. And she's just been dramatic. You know, how can you just feel that because she's a strong woman, she has blood flowing through her veins. She's also a human. She has emotions. And for us, especially as women, the estrogens and progesterone, reality that mental illness doesn't discriminate. You can be successful, be a CEO, be a mother, be a wife, be a pastor's wife, be a market woman, and still be battling depression or burnout. Strength is seeking help, not hiding the pain. A strength in that. The harmful part of this practice is that it silences women, especially high-achieving ones who feel ashamed to go seek help or to admit that they are struggling. That is the harmful part of this stigma, this myth. The third one is that she's just seeking for attention. She's just, you know, trying to make people to like her. She's just, you know, and I'm like, no, don't think that this person is seeking for attention. Naturally, women speak out more than men. And if you are a more vocal woman in a room filled up with other women, some people will think you are seeking attention, or you are too bold, or you are arrogant, or, you know, and all that. So she's just looking for attention is one of the myths, especially when it comes to women. So when women when they open up about their mental health, it takes courage. Before people will say, this is what is wrong with me, it takes a lot of courage. So dismissing her as attention-seeking creates even more isolation. And the harmful part of this myth is the fact that it pushes women into secrecy and shame, increasing their risk of self-harm or suicide. Yeah. You know, so it's better to allow women to seek help, to speak up when and if they need help. The fourth one is that once she goes to see a psychiatrist, she's mad. So already I must tell you that people don't see me as their doctor. They see me as their friend. So people don't say, oh, Dr. May is my doctor, because the moment you say that, they're like, oh, whoa. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, okay. Yeah. For me, you know, like if you say I'm not okay. So I see for immediately having that switch when they realize, they just say, oh, Dr. May is my doctor. They say, no, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, she's my friend. She's my dearest friend. I love her so much. But in reality, we see our neurologist and be screaming, this is my neurologist. We see our family health physician, we are screaming. Or in fact, we women, especially those that have had children, that's my OBGYN. You are so big on her, or loving him and celebrating him on his birthday and all that. Nobody, like if they put me up on my birthday, they're like, my sister, my friend, you know, they're like, she's not my doctor, because like literally she's you know, people will see them as being mad. So psychiatry, like I tell people, isn't for crazy people, it's for everyone. People dealing with grief, anxiety, trauma, stress, family challenges, even hormonal shift. Look at us getting into a perimenopausal, and menopausal season. It's just a whole mess right now. The hormonal spike and shift and emotions up and down, and you know, they are just, you know, everywhere. The harmful part of this is that it discourages women from seeking therapy or even medication when they desperately need it, because people just believe that, you know, seeing a psychiatrist just means that you are mad. The last one I want to talk about when it comes to myth is that mental illness means she can't be a wife, a mother, or a leader. Yeah. That because you have had the mental illness, no, you can't be that. You can't be a good leader, you can't be a good wife, you can't be a good mother. So the reality is that when with the right support, anyone that has any medical condition, whether it's hypertension, whether it's diabetes, whether it's mental illness, women living with mental health conditions can thrive in every role. Nobody knows whether we have taken antidepressants sitting down here and having this discussion, you know, so they can thrive. The most important thing is that your diagnosis is not your disqualification.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's never. So, and the bad thing when it comes to this statement is that the harmful part is that it leads to discrimination. So in marriages, in workplace, and in community life, like, I know she can't be a leader. So did you hear that she has depression?
Yeah.
And she's seeing Dr. May and she's taking medication. We don't want when she's supposed to do this. And, you know, so they just automatically just disqualify them.
Yeah.
So the truth is that mental health is health. When women deserve access to help without judgment. And of course, healing isn't a luxury, it's a human right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Would you tell us about the vision behind Pinnacle Medical Services? What is the gap that you're trying to fill?
The vision behind Pinnacle Medical Services. So I like the fact that you brought up Pinnacle Medical Services because I had two reasons why I set up Pinnacle Medical Services. There were many other reasons, but two striking ones. Residency in Nigeria is 6 years. And as I was rounding up my residency program in my 4th, 5th, then 6th year, I realized the people that were before me, they had finished their program and they come around and they're seeking for jobs. And I'm like, I'm wondering, why would they be seeking for a job? I need to let people understand how to be a psychiatrist, the number of years it takes. So, and this is what why I was puzzled. You go to medical school in Nigeria is 6 years. And that is 6 years free from if you didn't fail. You can actually be failing every class and repeating. And because you didn't fail the second time for you to be withdrawn, so automatically you may spend more than 6 years. So you first of all spending 8 years, 10 years in medical school. The second part of it is that we used to normally have more strikes, nationwide strikes then than now. Now they're enjoying more, you know, there are a lot of private universities, so it's minimized. So you can be in med school for 10 years and you have not moved from one level to you have not moved very fast because of the strikes are holding you down. Yeah. So if you have spent 6 years, so let's just take the norm in 6 years, then you come and do housemanship, which is 1 year. Then you come and serve the nation, which is the National Youth Service Corps, which is 1 year. So that automatically means 8 years, right? And then you will then choose, because residency is a choice, it's not by force. Yeah. You don't have to, they don't force people to do that. It is a choice, right? And so you then come and say, okay, it's a choice, let me be a psychiatrist at the end of this. So you do another 6 years. So when you add that 6 years to these 8 years, that is 14 years. And then somebody's coming to say, I don't have a job. So that wasn't making sense to me, right? I'm like, no, is the only option government job? That means you can be an entrepreneur and run a practice. Okay, that is one. The second one was the fact that every day as a resident doctor in the emergency unit, because there's also emergency psychiatry where people, the first point of call when people come into the hospital, we were seeing no less than 10, 15 new cases, like literally, not people that came yesterday, not people that came last week, new cases. And sometimes we have to turn people back because all the beds in the hospital were filled, over 500 beds. So they were inadequate. And then some people will say, I don't want to be in this government establishment, you know, because of the stigma and discrimination. They may see me, I'm too big, my position in the society, I can't be seen and that. So it didn't mean that there was room for option. So can we have private setup? And so, yeah, so those were the two striking reasons, you know, option for people to have not only in government establishment, but option for privately set up mental health services. Then the second part of is the fact that, you know, coming back to say that they needed jobs. So when I started Pinnacle Medical Service, it wasn't just about opening another clinic or another hospital. It was about changing the narrative around mental health in Nigeria. As a psychiatrist, I had seen too many people suffer in silence, not because they didn't want it, but because help felt too far, too expensive, too foreign, or worse still, too shameful to ask for help. So I asked myself, what if we could create that safe space that is affordable, that is accessible space for people that have mental health issues to be treated, and not only just, misunderstood? The question became the heartbeat of Pinnacle Medical Services. And the gap we are trying to fill is access and affordability. So, because we know that largely mental health is seen as luxury, over 70% of Nigerians do have out-of-pocket payment.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of work, a lot of money. So we wanted to bring it closer to the people, from therapy to assessment to inpatient. So like end to end, and build that ecosystem where everybody could be. We also wanted to break the stigma, because there's a huge cultural war when it comes to mental health. And so Pinnacle is built to crack that wall through awareness campaigns, outreaches, community dialogue, school radio shows, digital platform, and through also our workplace mental health programs through the employee assistance program. We were talking more about the burnout, toxic bosses and toxic workplaces, trauma from the job. So we step in to help corporate Nigerians to heal from the inside using our workplace intervention, the EAP, and supporting staff, and also bringing culturally relevant care. With our telemedicine platform, we deliver culturally appropriate therapy using the How Body telemedicine platform. And for people in the rural area, how to reach community, we use the How Body mobile counseling booths, and seeing how we can scale. We didn't just want a one location wonder. The vision in Pinnacle is to always, the vision has always been national and global, to impact and make people, have that access to mental health at the tip of their finger. So when you click in a How Body, you are delivering culturally appropriate therapy. And we've been able to manage over 5 million Nigerian employees and their families, because for every corporate organization we have, the families are part of it. And of course, not just rendering service, but the social impact of it. The radio talk show, we have Pinnacle Health, online health radio talk show now, the telemedicine platform, the How Body mobile counseling booth, our movies. We've done 2 movies now, one on pepper soup, which talked on drug abuse, and one on depression and postpartum depression, Little Drops of Happy. So we are not just treating illness, we are building a mentally stronger society.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I want to go back. You spoke earlier about, people going to their traditional healers. Do you think that there is, or are you already busy working with traditional healers to get them to be aware of referral pathways, and like where things are outside, or religious leaders, where things need to be kind of referred back to that professional, so that we are kind of building, because we know communities lean in on those leaderships. So how do we use them to kind of help us break down the stigma around mental health?
So I'm happy with the fact that we have religious organizations that are beginning to understand that it's important for us to talk about our mental health. It's important because in Nigeria, we are very religious. It's not spiritual. They're two different things. Spirituality is different from religion. God, everything we base it on, and God will do it, even if we know spiritually we are not sound, right? People listen to their religious leaders a lot in our society. They worship them. Some people, they worship, it's crazy when you see some of those things. So when we get these religious leaders to understand the concept of mental health, we've even gotten some to start doing trainings for them. So as gatekeepers, so as mental health first aiders, so that they can educate their audience and their congregation better, and letting them know that mental illness are like the non-communicable diseases. So here a pastor telling the congregation, look, I have hypertension. Hypertension and mental illness are they're under the same group of non-communicable disease. I'm seeing a doctor, I'm taking my medication. So if you have a mental illness, go and see your doctor, go and take your medication. They are likely going into do that because their pastor said so, their imam said so.
Yes.
Traditional healers, they have an association of traditional healing and medicine and all that. It's a bit difficult, right? But I strongly believe the movement, myself and other people in this space we are creating that space for them to understand that they form part of the value chain, even though people see them as, being destructive, being causing more harm than norm. If you keep ignoring them, they will cause more harm. So bringing them in is to letting them know that when people come to you, these are some of the things you should do, and this is the reason why you should refer. So it just goes back to the bigger picture of integrating mental health into our primary healthcare centers. Yeah. So when it's properly integrated into our primary healthcare system, it will be easier for people to go to their primary healthcare centers and receive that immediate care, and they would know because they have been trained. They're like trainers. We have done what we call the WHO called task shifting, task sharing. So we've trained those people in the lower care, the community health extension workers, and those counselors there to see that, oh, do you have low mood? For how long? How often? And then you know that a 1 day or two is not sign, or it's not a depressive symptom. Yeah. It's just one of the symptoms. If you have low mood at least 2 weeks and more, okay, you have that one. Do you have low energy? And then they can just help to just know, okay, how do this arrive at this and what they should do, like first aid, and then refer to a secondary or a tertiary institution. So for me, this question is very important, because if we keep ignoring this group of people where we have most of our patients, by the way, because most of our patients tend to go to them more than we, the expert, because they see us as experts as we are going to tell them something very catastrophic, like, the prognosis is poor, this illness is going to take for a long time, you may take your medication for years, but that's traditional healer or spiritual healer is going to say, take this one tablet, this illness will disappear immediately. The brain, the human brain, like, I want something that is right now. But we know the science behind it is not right now. Yeah. And so working with them will give that synergy to empower them to do the right thing instead of causing more disaster that are catastrophic, and, people just die prematurely from preventable disease.
No, absolutely. I totally concur. I do feel that they are part of the ecosystem, and so we need to reach out and kind of build bridges there. Thanks. So you are a visible voice in the public conversation around mental health. I mean, if anyone is listening to this and you have not followed Dr. May on her social media, please go back and have a look. This woman has endless content. And so I just wanted to ask, what responsibility does it come with, being this visible voice in the public space?
Oh, being visible. That's a whole it's just a whole lot, Visibility is more than presence, it's purpose. It's purpose. And the powerful reflection about being visible, it's not just be seen. No, like I said, it's purpose. So visibility, media, and healing in public is a whole different ballgame. So when my voice becomes the loudest in the room, it's a responsibility. Isn't just to speak, it's to speak wisely, is to speak truthfully, and it's also to speak for those who can't.
Wow.
Being the voice for the voiceless. So as a psychiatrist who is highly visible, run a TV talk show, print media, podcast, panel discussion, public enlightenment, I've learned certain things. That visibility in mental health comes with 3 non-negotiable things. Vulnerability, which is number 1, vigilance, and the last one is vision. So from visibility, we have 3 V's again, which is the vulnerability, vigilance, and vision. So vulnerability, what am I talking about? Vulnerability? I must tell the truth, even when it is personal. I remember when I shared the story about this young man that I talked about on my LinkedIn page. it opened up a whole lot of discussion. Like doctors could identify. I had lots of reposts. I had people put it in on WhatsApp. You know, when something has hit WhatsApp group, you know that post has gone viral. Like literally people like, because I was telling ourselves we need to heal because, you know, they expected me after they just told me that young man has died, I should just continue my normal job. Like, yeah, he's dead. It was a big deal. Just move on, you know? So vulnerability here just means I must tell the truth, even if it's personal. The truth is healing doesn't always look glamorous. Yeah. And some days I'm the doctor and the one holding back the tears. Other days I smile for the cameras and later cry in my car. That's vulnerability for you. So being visible means being authentic. And of course, sharing the behind the scene moments that say, I've been there, I understand. And that's vulnerability for me. So because when people see someone like me, a professional, a mother, an entrepreneur, a public figure, admit to struggle and still rise, it gives them permission to seek help too. Yeah,
that
so
is
exactly. And then when we talk about vigilance, we're talking about what I can say, what I say can harm or heal. So you have to be vigilant. Vigilance is very key. So when people trust your voice, you have to treat your words like scalpels. You have to treat your words that they are powerful, but be careful with what you say. You have to walk the talk. I can't casually joke about suicide. I can't misdiagnose that, and I can't misuse diagnostic labels. I can't tell somebody you are bipolar, you are schizophrenic, you are autistic. You know, I can't. I must speak responsibly because in mental health, just vibes can do damage. Whether it's in a 30-second reels or a live TV, I ask myself, if a 16-year-old girl in South Africa or a working mother in Ghana or a market woman in Nigeria hears this, will it heal her or shame her?
Wow.
So being visible means being vigilant about my tone, my message, and the impact. And the last V, which is vision, I must think beyond likes and into legacy. I'm not about the likes, the comments, and the share. I'm about the legacy. So every radio interview, Instagram carousel, writing as a business day columnist is an opportunity to do one thing: shift the culture, break the stigma, and plant seeds. Because not everything will go viral, but everything I share must go deep into the minds of people, the teachers, the employers, the parents, the young professionals who will carry that awareness forward. I'm indirectly building, you know, ambassadors because it's a movement. So visibility isn't about the fame. It's about changing the mental health map of Africa. And that is the responsibility I carry gladly, fiercely, with my head held high.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So now, how do you care for yourself, you know, for your own mental health, given that you have to hold spaces for all of us? How do you care for yourself?
So just as a follow-up on that visibility thing, I just want to let people know, my call to anyone that listens to that is that, you know, to anyone in position, like you, like every other person, whether you have 100 followers, you have 1 million followers, you are visible to someone. So use that visibility to educate, not sensationalize, to invite people in, not to push them away, of course, to normalize care, not to glorify struggle. This is how we heal in public, and this is how we make mental health everybody's business. And this is how we create a future where being seen also means being safe. So coming to how do I care for myself, it's very important. It's a very good question. I always like when people ask me, because truly, it's not everybody that walks to me, that comes to see me and asks me, Dr. May, how are you? So when you come to meet me, I'm in my clinic and I'm supposed to do your session or do an assessment, I say, Dr. May, how are you? I always like, yeah, somebody's the one asking me, how am I? You know, and oftentimes people are curious to say, Dr. May, do you even go for therapy? So I've told people that have asked me this question over time. Don't ask me if I go for therapy. It's just like something you are curious about to know whether I will go for therapy. Rather flip the question and ask me, how often do you do therapy? Because
Oh,
it's no longer how do
Yeah.
I go for therapy, it's how often.
Mm.
Because people tell me the worst of things. People tell me their society are going to kill themselves. People tell me they are going to harm somebody. People tell me all the plan. People tell we are like the scientific priests in the Catholic Church, where people will go for confession, right? So the therapists, they confess everything that they will never have told anybody. And because they believe that you are sworn by the Hippocratic Oath, that even after the demise of your patient, and you have the responsibility not to speak up and tell people about that, but they feel safe with you.
Yeah.
So self-care for me is very key, very powerful. You know, I make sure I set clear boundaries, which I follow. I don't break my boundaries. I make sure I set time for myself, and my intentionality about self-care has really, really helped me, because I've been able to recognize that holding space for others effectively, I must first nurture my own well-being. I cannot give what I don't have, and I cannot give from a place of deficit. I have to give from a place of abundance. So I have to fill my cup first before I fill other cups. So I do a whole lot of things, like setting clear boundaries, like I said earlier on. I know when to say no. And I'm very quick to say no now, because as I grow higher and in places, I have to also give room to my mentees, to my community, to my ecosystem. So you call me and I know there's somebody within my ecosystem that can do that. Why don't I just tell you to? And then the moment you are telling me, no, it's only you I want, I say, you've not even experienced this person. How will you know if this person is, in fact, I have this mentee is awesome, it's even better than me. It's because you have heard me. You've heard me speak. You believe I'm the only one that can do this job. This person can do this job as well. So to set clear boundaries, because I have to protect my energy so I can be fully present when supporting others. I have to practice regular self-reflection. It's very, very important. And self-reflection through journaling, mindfulness, quiet moments, check in with myself to process emotions and maintain clarity. I will let you know I don't work on Mondays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't work on Mondays. Yeah, it has been a rule for years. So any job I want to hold now, I want to really make sure that it also incorporates that in. So I do things on Mondays that are just very easy breezy, just lazing around. I call them unproductive days, just lazing around, just doing my own thing, not stressing myself, blogging, having some kind of tea with a friend somewhere, just easy breezy thing. And then also making sure that I limit my exposure to news and social media. So if I see any app that's no longer serving me, I'm very quick to exit from there, archive it, and just move on. I'm very unapologetic about it. I don't, Dr. May, there was a time I think WhatsApp used to announce you exited the WhatsApp group. Dr. May exited. I don't care, because it's no longer serving me, and I know that that's something that I should go, move with. So I do that. I make sure I connect with a healthy support system. So I have a healthy support system. I have an accountability partner. My partner, my husband is my unpaid, unprofessional therapist that holds spaces for me, which I've taught on how you should hold space for me. So just tell him, I say, honey, I want to vent. That means he knows that I just want to talk. His own job is just to listen. He's not supposed to say anything. Just listen and don't judge. Just listen and don't judge. Just hold space for me. I just want to rant it out. And then just, so I limit my exposure to news and social media. I find things that I enjoy doing and engage in pleasurable activities. So I do a lot of volunteer work. Out of my very busy schedule of seeking engagement, I also make sure that I volunteer to speak for free. Though my speaking engagement are paid services, I speak for free, and I pick organizations that even if they don't say they want to hear about mental health, I volunteer to go there, teach, and I give freely. So volunteerism is a big part of my self-care practice to keep me grounded. My healthy support system, very key. Then of course my lifestyle modification. If I tell people that I wake up 4 a.m. to do workout, they will like, how? Consistency for me is is I use the statement, consistency is a love language. For me, it is, just to make sure that I boost my feel-good hormones, which are the endorphins, to keep my activity, to keep me, happier, better, more productive throughout the day. Try as much as possible to hit my 10,000 steps. Some people say it's a myth, but it's working for me because I'm even getting older. I'm not looking to do exercise to lose weight, but for my body to be happy that I'm doing things. Osteoporosis, a whole lot of joints and body pains and all that, get it all out. Sleep is my middle name.
Wow.
I make sure I have my adequate hours of sleep, minimum of 7 hours. Like I literally sleep. I can sleep in a club with all the noise. Like I've gotten to that stage where I need to sleep and I need to sleep now. Like literally. And so I sleep well, adequately. I make sure I steal that time. So when someone says, how can you wake up by 4 o'clock to do exercise? Because my job doesn't start by 9 a.m. I plug the time I want to start my job. So I get my 7 hours of sleep. So I sleep adequately. I do my exercise, at least my workout at least minimum of 5 times a week. I eat right, making sure my plate is colorful with the right vegetables and right fruits. People may think it is expensive. I'm telling you, it is not. Just look for the fruits and vegetables in the season. There are always fruit and vegetables in the season, and just do the right thing. If you can work with a nutritionist to give you a better meal plan to work with your body type and your, and who you are, woman at your age, it really will help. So those are some of the things I do. And as much as possible, I am very much aware of my strengths, my weaknesses, my triggers, my stressors. So that I know how to manage them well, and my boundaries, like I said, I set them clearly and I interact and communicate to the people I know. My manager, because I don't work on Monday, I tell her, don't discuss anything money with me on Mondays, except it's a life-threatening situation that you need money for. So on Mondays, she already knows that. She only sends anything, we need urgent money now for XYZ. Then on Tuesday, in the morning, before I wake up, she has rolled that, we need to buy this, because she knows that on Monday, I don't want to hear anything about money. Don't tell me anything about money. So it is that about that communication. My parents, I let them know, don't call me after 9 p.m. in the night because I want to sleep well, except it is a life-threatening situation. There's no need calling me to tell me things that will make me not to sleep well. No. So those setting boundaries and ensuring that is a big thing. So from those lifestyle modifications, sleeping well, exercising right, hydrating. I drink a lot. I say I was drinking a lot of water. I'm still drinking water. Hydrating well, connecting with a healthy support system. I found myself traveling a lot these days, so I make every trip an experience, a memory that I build around it. So even if I go for work, I build in time to relax, to zone in, to pause, to breathe, to feel nature, and just take care of myself.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We've come to the end of our conversation, but that was Dr. May reminding us that mental health is not a weakness. It can affect absolutely anyone, and that healing is not necessarily only private work, but it's community, it's cultural work, it's political work. If Dr. May's words have helped you to rethink how you approach mental health, please do share this episode. Please do tag someone who needs it. I know she spoke about the likes and the subscribing, but this is about building community and making sure that women out there know where to go and who to look out for. So until next time, rest when you need to, ask for help when you must, and always keep quoting Women Plus. Thank you so much, Dr. May.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. Please share this episode because you're saving life. As much as possible, let's save more people. Let's build a healthier, wealthier, and happier society for each and everyone to not only survive, but thrive and flourish.
Absolutely. Thank you.